New channel, same podcast. Don't worry. We're not going anywhere, but I have changed my YouTube strategy. You might have realized that I imagine a lot of you guys watch the long form stuff that I do outside of the podcast as well. And if you don't and you are training jiu-jitsu, I recommend that you do. If you don't and you're not training jiu-jitsu, I still recommend that you do because it might get you over the line to starting jiu-jitsu, and that's not for my benefit, it's for your benefit. And it's kind of fucked up if I care about your benefits more than you do, but I do because you should do jiu-jitsu because it's fucking awesome. It's the only reason you guys give a fuck about what I have to say, amongst other things. But anyway, new YouTube channel. So if you're watching this, you have likely been recommended by the YouTube lords of the algorithm, that sneaky fucking string pulling thing that they've got, that knows you better than you do. So hopefully you would have already noticed that this is on a different channel. And if you're not on the, I don't know how you would be watching this if you weren't on the other channel. That's a good point. You're not going to see this if you don't see the new channel. Well, anyway, welcome to the new channel. If you've been lucky enough to find us here, I will probably put a post in like the community chat or something to make sure that you guys peel off. And if you just want the podcast, it's going to be over here. It's going to be called Mindset King Podcast. But if you want the other long form YouTube videos, they're going to stay on the same channel. So if you subscribe to both, because that benefits me greatly, and you, obviously, if you want to keep listening, you subscribe to both, you'll get both. Anyway, there's that. Can't waste Nick's effort of writing the correct date without clapping. It's, 0404. Isn't that funny? That could be an Americanized date or an Australianized date because you American idiots put the month first and then the day. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It should be the biggest possible number and then the smaller number. Or, yeah, how does it work? Because there's 31 odd days in a month, most months, and then you're only going to ever get up to 12, but then it kind of defeats it down the year because then you can have 99, for instance. Yeah, maybe even my own logic is stupid. But anyway, it should be day, month, year. It just makes sense that way. Just do it. Stop fucking around. I was talking to one of my American clients, one of my students. He's from New York. And I was like, why do you guys insist on using the metric system? Is it the metric system or the imperial system? I forget which one's which. Shows how fucking stupid I am. But why do you insist on using things that are in ounces and pounds? And it's so unbelievably complicated. And I don't even think that it's that Americans are stupid. Some of them are, but not all of them. But it's just that your system doesn't produce any intelligence. And like, it's so easy. 0 is freezing point in Celsius. And then you have 100 degrees boiling. So it's literally the two ends of the spectrum, 0 and 100. That is fantastic. I forget what it is in Fahrenheit, but in Fahrenheit, boiling is like 270 something, and then freezing is like minus 35. And so there's no way that you could possibly think that there's, oh yeah, here's the midway point. It makes heaps of sense. And it's just retarded. But anyway, I digress. Oh no, my notes have gone away. Give me 1 second. I apologize. We're going to be talking about some manly shit. Get ready. Hopefully this music doesn't come on. Oh yeah, nice. Okay, so there's a really good page. A really good page that I've been listening to or reading from for a little while now. It's called Path to Manliness. And you got to be careful with these pages as well because you fall down the rabbit hole of like men's retreat things and you get into like cult territory very quickly in terms of like these men's mental health things. I'll tell you a story in a second. I know this guy, I'm obviously not going to name and shame him, but I know this guy that went to this men's mental health thing. And unfortunately, some parasitic men decide that they're going to leverage low levels of esteem in other men for profit, which is fucking bullshit, first of all. I feel sorry for the men that get caught up in this trap because I know what it's like to be in a shit place. I know what it's like to feel gross and not really know how to deal with it because we're very logic and binary. We're not very emotional and what have you. And it's easy to get taken advantage of when you're in that position because you basically just want to get out of it as fast as possible. And whenever you get presented with an opportunity that would allow you to get out of it as fast as possible, you usually take it without doing your due diligence. Anyway, so he goes along to this men's retreat thing, and it's all about business, and it's all about escape the 9 to 5 and what have you. And it's just complete fuckery, and you can see it from the outside. But obviously, some things had gone on where he thought that he needed it, and now he's in this thing. And this is very distinct from the ones where there was a really good example. Me and my sister actually send memes to each other about these stupid men's mental health retreats. She fucking loves it. She's studying psychology, and she's actually a really smart cookie and not falling for the propaganda of modern psychology where you have to be labeled and basically an ideologue of this system that wants you to feel shit about the way that your brain works, and you have to live underneath the label of anxiety. You have to live underneath the label of depression. It's like, well, it's not a label that you carry. It's not something you tattoo across your forehead. It's not even something that you own, really. People pretend that it is. It's fucking stupid. It's a phenomenon of emotion that you experience, and it's only a symptom of something else. Like if you're depressed, your life just isn't going where you want it to go. If you're anxious, you're not acting. That's it. Your life sucks. You're depressed. I'd be depressed if my life sucked too. How do you get your life to suck less? You act. That's it. If you could minimize your path from thought to action towards the things that you want and just rep shit out. I've been doing James Smith's business mentorship for a little bit now. I think I signed up Black Friday, November, somewhere around there. Chewed through the whole course in like 2 days, and then it's just the thing that I learned the most from his entire thing was that you have to just put together 100 videos, recognize they're going to suck, they're going to get better and less shit in the next 100 and the next 100 and the next 100 and the next 100. That sets you up beautifully for thinking about it the correct way, because most people never get from 0 to 1. And that's why most people suck. And that's why most people who, when they think about the future, have a shit ton of anxiety because they're just not getting, oh, well, I don't know if this video is going to do this and I've just got to re-edit it, make sure it's perfect and blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck? Put it out there and see what happens. If it does shit, okay, look at why it did shit. Was it the first 3 seconds? Was it the body? Did you start rambling halfway through? Is the camera quality shit? Does the audio suck? Like, nothing is going to make me click off a video faster when the audio has like a in the background. Or it's just some dickhead that sounds like that. Boom, gone. We got this guy at the gym, by the way. He's a British expat, and he sounds like James L. Jones, but like a 19-year-old version. He's got this gorgeous, deep, silky smooth voice. And I said to him, I was like, Charles, if you don't go into radio announcing or like fight announcing or voiceover work or something, you have wasted your time. And he's like, oh, he just laughed it off. He kind of sort of gets the Australian humor, but he doesn't really. So he might think I'm being pushy or serious, but obviously I would like him to do well. He would do fucking really well. It's like a villain's voice in Disney. If they ever get a hold of him, boom, done, career sorted. But anyway, you get into these traps where you think that it's so important you get the first rep perfect. It's so important you get the first rep perfect. It's never going to be ready because you've got to like tinker this and da-da-da, and you're always going to be learning more information and newer information. Just put it out there. If it sucks, guess what? No one saw it. Go again. You're like, my video only got 50 views. Good. Good. No one saw it. No one gives a fuck. Keep going. I've posted shit that flopped, and I don't care because I know that it's building towards something really cool, and the only way that I get towards something really cool is by continuing the journey, and that's it. Some videos go crazy, some videos don't, and this is a metaphor for your entire existence. Like some job interviews go really well, and you get the job. Some interviews go really shit, but you've got to march uphill past the shit ones to get to the good ones. That's how it works. And if it comes easy, you won't respect it. So stop believing that it should come easy. And if you don't act, then you're never going to get the one that's worth it. You're only going to be hanging out for the easy one, which also won't be worth it. And I really think that's a major problem in today's day and age, and why these men's mental health things are kind of silly to me, because you can fix it in one fell swoop. And I'm not at all saying that men shouldn't be able to communicate with each other and all those sorts of things. But I think, honestly, to get yourself out of the propagandized world where you could get sucked into one of these things, just act as much as humanly possible and don't stop, and see where it takes you, because it'll take you fucking incredible places. Like my community that I run now, I sold 30 spots of it before I'd even made it. And everybody listening to this probably thinks that that's completely retarded and somewhat of a scam. It wasn't a scam. I fully intended on doing it. But I was like, let me just build some curiosity about it and put it together after I've already proved that it works. Why not? So I sold 30 spots to it, and it was just like a Telegram chat. Actually, first of all, it was a WhatsApp channel. And the reason why I moved away from WhatsApp is because it doesn't show history in messages. So I had people just dropping into this thing that looked like it didn't exist, where it looked like a scam. Admittedly, it wasn't. Very well intentioned, but just poor execution. And so I quickly changed that over to Telegram, because you could have the history of the messages and you could see the conversations and everything else. Not that everybody spent weeks and weeks and weeks of time reading every message before they got in there, but at least to validate the fact that they were in the right place. And yeah, I sold 30 spots before I'd even filmed the course and put it together and figured out the website that I was going to host it on, and develop the community idea and set some structure so that people actually got what they were looking for and all those sorts of things. And acting in that way, in that accordance, is never a bad idea. Just say fuck it, throw your hands in the air and go, what can I take physical action on right now? And again, it's not to say that like talking about your feelings and going to runs in the park and getting around the boys and slapping hands isn't a good thing, because a lot of men need that, and maybe they're in a job in a position where they don't really have a lot of agency, or they feel like they don't have a lot of agency. I would go against that. I would argue vehemently against that, to say that if you started rocking up and putting in a disproportionate amount of effort, it's only a matter of time until there's a promotion coming around the corner and you're going to be the first name on that list. It literally is that simple. Take it from a business owner who has staff. If I see someone going above and beyond and doing the things that I didn't even ask them to do, they're getting paid more. Simple. Very fucking simple. And sometimes this is a trap, because you'll get into a situation where you want to pay them more and they just don't put in the effort, and you kind of got to ask them to do shit all the time, and it's fucking annoying. And then you have like this souring of the relationship. It doesn't really work that well. But most people want to do well. They really do. Most people want to be good at the shit that they do. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to be mediocre today. You just don't. It just doesn't happen. Even if it's just a job, even if it's just a run-of-the-mill job where they're stacking shelves or moving pallets or whatever, they want to be good at it. They want to know that if the boss comes down and they ask them to get something done, that they do it. And they do it in a short period of time and to a high degree of quality. So that the next time that that person comes around asking for somebody to do the shit that they want to do, they're going to look for you, and then you're going to be Mr. Dependable. And obviously there are situations where this is abused. Like everybody on the left seems to believe that billionaires do and create these horrible working environments. Yeah, okay, there's some stories about Amazon truck drivers having to take a shit in the truck because they couldn't get the package there fast enough if they stopped. I'm not saying they're perfect, but these people aren't these parasitic losers. There's also another funny quip about this that Naval Ravikant says, and he goes, you'll hear billionaires say that money isn't like the route to happiness. And then he goes, all right, give it up then, dickhead. It's so funny. So true. So funny. It can be a pathway to happiness. And if you disagree with that, I think that that's silly. Because if you remove all of the financial stress in your life, life gets much more fucking enjoyable. It does. You just don't have to worry about unnecessary shit. And you don't have to worry about, like, I remember when I only had a job working a couple hours a week at the nutrition station stand. And a mate of mine asked me to go out for lunch, and I had like $40 left. And I was like, oh, sweet, I can cover lunch, no problem. And then another mate came to join, and he was doing well at the time. He had a concreting business, and he was 4 years older than me, but had been left school. I think I was in year 12. I just left year 12. I was maybe like 18 or 19. And he left school 4 years earlier, but then was also a couple years older. So he'd been in the workforce earning 150 grand a year for 6 years or something like that. And obvious to say, he had a shitload more money than I did. So we went to a nicer place. And they were like, oh, yeah, let's get these steaks, da da da. And I was like, looking at the menu, freaking the fuck out, sweating, going, I don't have enough money for that. And then I also don't want to be like confrontational and say no and be embarrassed that I can't have it. It was a fucking disaster, proper disaster. And avoiding that, and if you think that avoiding that by having a surplus of what you need isn't a pathway to happiness, I think you need to reconsider your position. But anyway, if you start doing a good job, disproportionate to everybody else, when the promotion time comes around, or they're thinking about giving you more responsibility and they're thinking about upgrading where you're at in life, well, then you're going to be the one that gets a knock on the door and you'll be able to accept the opportunity. And that goes for everything. It goes for everything in your entire life. If you just put more effort in than everybody else, which, mind you, has never been a lower level at all. Most people give up on day one. Most people post content for 2 weeks and go, whoa, haven't made any sales yet. This content shit doesn't work. Are you fucking retarded? 2 weeks? Kidding yourself. Imagine thinking losing weight for 2 weeks is going to be sufficient for you to be in impeccable shape and you're 40 kilos overweight. People genuinely do this. They set this big, lofty, ambitious target they have no idea how to reach, and they go, yeah, sweet, I'm going to do it. They get to day 14, they're like, fuck this, I'm going back. Why? You've been doing it for 2 weeks. You're fucking kidding yourself. Do something for a year. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to get better at, do it for a year. Do it for 12 months. Don't fucking stop. Do it every single day in some capacity, just a little bit, every day. You will be shocked at the amount of shit you can get done in a year. Absolutely bamboozled. You will criminally underestimate what you can get done in a year, and you will, in the same vein, overestimate what you can get done in 3 months. So just don't aim for anything 3 months and under. Aim for everything 12 months plus. And if you can't commit to it for 12 months plus, then shut the fuck up about your shitty results and get over it. Stop complaining about it, because it's fucking annoying to listen to. If you're a listener of this show, you're obviously not one of those people, but you know who I'm talking about. These people are like, oh, I'm too anxious to leave the house. That's because you don't act on anything for any meaningful period of time, and your life sucks. I would be in the same position if I was doing the same things as you were. It's very easy. What are the inputs that are giving you that output of a feeling? Oh, well, I don't try hard at anything. I don't do anything. I don't stick to anything. No wonder you're fucking anxious. What a chaotic life to live. You have no idea what result you're going to get because you pick something up for 2 weeks and then you go, not for me. And then you have 2 weeks of doing nothing and you pick up something else for 2 weeks and then there's no consistency. There's no fucking anything. It's fucked. I had a roommate. Piece of shit. Owes me 6 months of rent. Never paid it to me. Fucking scumbag. Didn't realize, by the way. That was on me. Should have realized much earlier. It is what it is. Hated his existence when he was living with me because he fucking wouldn't commit to anything. This is nothing to do with me. Sure, you can be jealous of somebody. I'd recommend that you don't, because jealousy is like drinking poison hoping the other person dies. It's fucking stupid. And also, you can't compare apples to oranges. It's a completely different existence with different experience, with all these sorts of things. I think the thing that pissed him off the most was the fact that we're in a very similar position when he moved in, and then I've obviously gone to a different level by putting in a fuck ton of work, and then somehow didn't see the correlation to that. But it is what it is. And if you want to get anxious or upset with your existence, how about get anxious and upset with your lack of commitment, with your lack of conviction to move forwards to things and keep fucking putting in effort, even when it seems doom and gloom. Even when it seems doom and gloom. I've had people come up to me and ask me about business advice, and they say, oh, well, I did this thing for 6 weeks. And I'm like, do you want a fucking lollipop? 6 weeks? Is that it? They're like, yeah, it didn't work for me. I was like, trust me, I used to be in your position. The only reason I have authority to say these sorts of things is because I used to think like this. I started a jewelry business, like a handcrafted jewelry business, drop shipping. Did the website. Paid some schmuck to make a store. I was the schmuck. Paid some guy to make a store. Put it all together. Didn't run a single ad. Put the website up, and then expected sales to just come rushing in like a fucking moron. And then didn't go on the journey to learn as to why that was happening based on the traffic that I wasn't getting from the things that I wasn't producing, and just closed it instead. I was like, oh, this doesn't work. This store doesn't work. This idea doesn't work. You're like, no, you fucking moron. You didn't make it work. There are so many billionaires on earth right now that do the most boring shit you'd ever imagine, like concrete, or even Starbucks is relatively boring. And they made it work because of their execution levels. There was three brothers. I forget their names, but I think they were part of the original PayPal Mafia. And I don't know why they call it PayPal Mafia, but all those guys have gone on to operate multi-billion-dollar companies of the guys who were in PayPal. Three brothers recognized that with their execution skills and their leadership skills and how to operate companies and build people that build companies, because that's the secret. Companies don't build themselves. Excellent fucking people build companies. That's how it works. If you're ever wondering, if you're wondering how people get so much done, like these figureheads like Musk and all these sorts of dudes, they don't. They're unbelievable visionaries, and they're the taskmaster of goal setting. But then underneath them, like their CFO, their CEO, all those guys, all their management teams, their leaders, their HR, like they're all guns at what they do. And they obviously pay them very well to be guns at what they do. But three brothers realized that they didn't even have to come up with an idea because they were so good at executing. They could just clone businesses from the US, take them to Europe, start them, make them successful, and then sell them back to the US company. So that's what they did. They went and took eBay, made it in Germany. I don't know what they called it. Frankfurt. I don't fucking know. 90 days late. No, is it right? 90 days? I'm pretty sure it was like 90 days later, 3 months. Built the company, sorted it all out, infrastructure, everything, got it started. Sold it back to eBay for $53 million. I can't do that. An idea is worth nothing. An execution is worth everything. Even in a sense of most people who are starting brand new companies, they're like, oh, I don't want you to know about my idea. And then when you get to like your fourth or fifth iteration, you're like, well, you can know the idea. Actually, here's everything I was going to plan to do. We probably don't think it's going to work, but it might. And so we'll see if it does. And it all comes down to execution. But anyway, Path to Manliness, great page. Recommend you follow it. They've got a little thread here that I'm going to read out to you guys. And this is actually spurred on. The reason I wanted to talk about this is my first business mentor, Mr. Mark. There was two Marks. Older Mark and younger, more athletic, handsome Mark. They were both pretty handsome. Anyway, he talked about this initiation to manhood that his dad gave him. He's Kiwi. And so he spoke about this idea that when he turned 13, maybe even 12, I think when he was a teenager, probably 13, seems about right. And he said to him, he goes, Mark, I am your dad and I love you very much. And up until this stage, I've been parenting you the way that I want you to become a good, upstanding person in society. And that's been very important, but now my job is done. You are turning into a young man at the moment. And I'm now going to hand the reins over to you in terms of you now accepting responsibility for your actions. So if you would like to eat chocolate for breakfast, you can. If you want to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, you're allowed to. If you don't want to go to school, sure. But you are now responsible for the consequences of those decisions. And what you will learn is that there are consequences for every decision, good, bad, or ugly. But he goes, you will now be accepting of the responsibility. He goes, I've been putting the safeguards up for you. And you know, when you go to the bowling alley and they put the guards up so that your kid can actually knock a pin over instead of going down the alley every single time. But he goes, now you've basically got the keys to the kingdom. You could do whatever you want, whenever you want, but you just got to accept that there are consequences to your actions and you're going to be personally responsible for them. I am no longer going to tell you that chocolate for breakfast is a stupid idea because it's going to crash your energy at 3 p.m. and you're going to want a nap and you're never going to get anything done if you do that, and you'll probably get fat. But yeah, there you go. And I thought that was such a strange concept. And the Spartans used to do something similar. Spartans used to send you off into the bush as a young man with basically no instructions. Where they're like, you're going into the forest. We're not coming with you. Figure it out. And the ones that came back, that were now men. They were treated as men. They were treated as men in society. regarding their families, their authority and their status within the town and the city. And from then on, they were to be recognized as men because they passed the test. And in today's day and age, we don't have fucking any of that. None of that. I know heaps of boy men. I was one of these people for a very long time, probably until 22, 23. I didn't take a lot of responsibility for my actions. I was quick to blame other people. I was quick to excuse myself of responsibility. I was quick to get disheartened very easily and like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And then just stop doing things like I was just talking about to you guys beforehand. And it's a big fucking problem because we've got a lot of children running around in men bodies, and just the way that has multifactorial flow-on effects in all of society is just fucked. And you talk about like relationship dynamics, you talk about leadership qualities, and you talk about the fact that most of these dickheads wear suits in Parliament. Like, what of, without getting into politics too heavy, what of the world's leaders do you see in terms of like admirable masculine qualities, aside from arguably Putin, because he's physically capable in combat, he's a judo black belt and other things, and he does man shit. I mean, he takes no for an answer, and he's in pretty decent shape for his age. Like a couple of these, without figuring out about their ideologies and all that sort of thing, don't worry about that. But it's very rare. You know those memes that went around, the Hungary's health minister? It's like 400 pounds. You're like, how the fuck are you a health minister? What's going on here? That's not specifically correlated, but could be vaguely correlated. The fact that there's not good men in good positions that are genuine leaders who've accepted this right into manhood and put their responsibility on themselves, on their back, and then just keep moving forward. It's like people like Jocko Willink are a really good example of these individuals. Obviously, extreme ownership is his whole thing, and I think we've gone away from that sort of thing a lot, and we're seeing a lot of the negative effects of this, where a lot of people are just willing to take shit and roll over and not really put up much of a fight for anything. That's why tyrannical overreach is at an all-time high. There's actually a really good video by What If Autist talks about the delineation between totalitarianism and authoritarianism, the fact that they're actually very different, and the representation of like the West and the East when you talk about different ideologies of politics. Really interesting watch. I recommend you watch it. But anyway, in modern culture, a boy becomes a man at 18 by passively waiting rather than being forced to show exemplary strength. Such a fucking good word, exemplary. Honor or resilience through a rite of passage. In ancient cultures, a boy who had to prove his worthiness to become a man. This is missing today, and it gives rise to the plethora of Peter Pan man children who spend their days on Xbox, watching porn, and binge drinking. There is a serious problem with men today, stuck in prolonged obsolescence. Couldn't fucking agree more. There was a really good video by Dan Martell the other day, and he said simply, he said, whenever a young kid comes up to me and asks me, what do I do when I'm driving one of my many supercars around town in Canada? He's got a GT3 RS in red. He's got a SVJ in white. He's got a F8 Tributo in yellow. Don't ask me why I know all these things, because I'm heavily autistic and I really like cars. And he said, my answer is always the same. It's not what I do. It's what I don't do. Don't drink. Don't go out. Don't go clubbing. Don't gamble. Don't cheat on my missus. I'm not an absent father to my kids, and so on and so forth. And I think that's a really fucking good way of looking at it. A really good way of looking at it, because those things will take so much from your life that you don't even really recognize. And if you could just avoid those traps and those pitfalls, you'd be in such a better place. Such a better place. Like, I gave up drinking, 9 years ago now, in a couple of weeks. 19th of May or the 29th of May. 19th of May. 9 years ago. I will never look back. Ever. And people are like, oh, you don't like a glass of red wine with dinner? I'm like, maybe I would. But not in this life. It's going to be for the next one. I'm over it. It's fucked. Takes so much shit away from you. Gives you absolutely nothing. All of the benefits that people try and give you to justify their own shitty behaviors is that, oh yeah, but you know, like I can have one and then put it down. Like, okay, sure, maybe you can. Good for you. Congratulations. Here's your fucking gold star of achievement. But think about like all of the negatives that it takes. It takes you longer to recover the day after. It fucks with your sleep. There's degenerative issues with your heart, your kidneys, and your brain, and all these sorts of things. And I even had one little smartass come back at me, and he was like, "Oh, well, you take fucking testosterone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, at a very nominal dose. That's actually significantly more beneficial than the opposite. So fuck off." But you got to be able to weigh the positives to the negatives of these sorts of things. You got to be able to do a cost analysis, and this is part and parcel why I'm talking about this subject today. Is that young men these days, these Peter Pan syndrome people, don't have a really good weighing system. They go, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm horny, so I'm going to jack off. I'm going to open fucking Pornhub and go do it. No. Okay, immediate gratification. That's what you get, right? And then as soon as that finishes its completion, or you finish your completion, you're fucking depressed. And you've got less energy than before, and you kind of hate yourself a little bit. I've been there. I've done it. I fucking know what it's like. Guilt, shame, low motivation, and then you've zapped all your dopaminergic brain chemicals to go towards much more difficult work that you could be applying yourself to get a genuine return on investment. And yes, it's not going to be in 30 seconds. Let's be honest, 30 seconds. It's not going to be in that time frame. But you don't want rewards to come that quickly, because then they wouldn't mean anything, and they actually detract more than they give you. That's why it's such a poisonous thing. It's because you're just automatically tapping the button to make yourself feel better. You don't deserve to feel better. Why are you giving yourself an out? Deal with your fucking problems. Deal with your shit. You got shit on your mind, and you're just going, oh, yeah, fucking jack off to some tits on the internet. Why? The amount that it fucks with your brain is completely ridiculous. If you don't believe me, look up the research associated with not even addiction, just casual usage. What it does to your physiology, what it does to your psychology. It's horrible. If you're doing it, I recommend you fucking stop, because it's not good for you. Don't take my word for it. Take a month off. See how good you feel. And if you don't get much done, okay, fair enough. But it is what it is. It worked brilliantly for me. Same thing with drinking. Same thing with going out and doing drugs and being a fucking degenerate retard, which I used to do a lot of. Since I've stopped doing that, life looks pretty fucking good. The only reason I necessitated those activities is because my life sucked. And the only reason my life sucked is because every opportunity that came up to tap out and feel good from a instantaneous mechanism of feeling good, I took it. And then you cross-reference that to anything that's worth building. It's probably going to take you 5 years. Anything that's worth building is probably going to take you 5 years. But you just keep putting that 5 years further and further and further and further back, because you keep resetting it, because you're not willing to sit with the discomfort and go again and go again and go again and go again in a lack of reward environment, knowing that you're building towards something cool, knowing that you're building towards something great, but it's going to come eventually. Most people don't have the balls to sit there and go, well, I'm going to wait. I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait it out. Most people don't have that, especially today's day and age. They just do not have the cojones to fucking sit with something and just keep moving forwards regardless of the results. And I think this is a big reason why. That's why I'm talking about it. Many young men are postponing their lives under the guise of being responsible and waiting for the right time. Comfortable lives encourage men to procrastinate everything from finding a serious career to starting a family. This is a big fucking problem. The average age of marriage and the average age of starting a family is positively correlated to the likeliness of a revolution in the country. The more the closer it approximates towards 28, maybe even 29, somewhere around there. Average age of having kids for young people these days, or young people, is, I think it's 30 in the US. So it's actually over that pre-predicted marker of like positive correlation. Terrifying. It means things aren't going well. If you've had a look outside, you would have recognized that. And It's multifactorial in the assessment of something like that, because if things were doing really well and men were men and women were women and the government fucked off for a little bit, you would see younger families getting started because there weren't so many roadblocks to doing so. Like, I don't know that any 21-year-old that I've met in the last 5 years would be capable of supporting a family mentally, let alone physically, in terms of providing for them. It's fucking tough. I mean, you can do it. You absolutely can do it. It's fucking difficult. It's way harder than it used to be. It used to be easy. It used to be not easy. That's diminishing people's hardships of the past. But it used to be significantly easier. Raising families is never easy. But yeah, it used to be way more attainable for much younger individuals. And it used to be expected in society. 40, 50, 60 years ago, you got to 25 and you weren't married with kids. You were like, what the fuck is this loser doing with himself? It was odd, very odd. Today's day and age, it's weird if you do. And I think that's a societal and a cultural thing, but I think it's neatly embedded within the fact that we've lost our traditional aspects of roles, gendered roles, and obviously responsibilities within those subsections. And people don't want to talk about this because it's very like, oh, you don't think equality exists and blah, blah, blah. No, I fucking don't. Sue me. It's not that we're not equal. It's that we are very fucking good at opposite things. And then when you're very good at opposite things, two halves come together to make the whole. And then it's fucking great. And I don't know why we've gone away from it to pretend that I could be a good stay-at-home mum. Because I fucking wouldn't be. I'd be off making videos. I would. I'm just going to be honest. I'd be off training jiu-jitsu. Not a very good stay-at-home mum training jiu-jitsu all day, am I? But as a provider, as a resource earner, as a leader, great. Fantastic. And my missus is fucking great as a stay-at-home mum. She's fantastic with kids. Let her do the shit she's good at. Let me do the shit I'm good at. And then don't fucking pollute people's minds to believe that they should be the opposite. They should be this or they should be this. This might sound extreme. Any stay-at-home dad does not fucking want to be there and should not be there. He has failed massively if he's a stay-at-home dad. And I don't mean to point anyone out specifically because I don't know many of them, to be fair. But fuck me. The amount of emasculation that has to happen for you to accept that as a man is concerning. That your missus should somehow be the breadwinner. And I'm not saying that women can't be fucking successful and earn a bunch of money. They can. They absolutely can. They've proven throughout history that they can. But something's gone wrong there. Some sort of Peter Panism, boy-ish thing. Like, as a man, I don't think you can accept that faithfully. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like, you don't see men sugar babies hanging around very often, do you? And if you do, there's something seriously fucking wrong with them. Because it's just, it goes against every primordial urge of going out into the wilderness and hunting to bring back for the tribe. Face it, that's where we came from. That's why we exist today. And you don't just recode thousands of years of genetics in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. It doesn't happen. It really doesn't. And I think, again, this is symptomatic of this same thing of young men not being given a rite of passage, not being forced to enter manhood. Oh, no, you're okay. Like, you're 25. You can still be irresponsible for your mistakes. And fuck that. No, sirree. Not in my household. I'm going to find out what I'm having, by the way, in a couple of weeks, I think, when I get back from Thailand. If it's a boy, I hope it is. No, honestly, it's already decided what it is. I'm going to be completely happy with whatever it is. And we're going to have more than one, so hopefully I get some of each. It'd be great. Just for the test of it. Because you got to be like certain qualities to the boys and certain qualities to the girls. And you got to be like, managing both of these sorts of areas in different ways. And because they're different people too, they're going to take things different ways. And I can't wait. Sounds like a fucking fantastic time to me. But if it's a boy, you can sure as fuck be certain that he's going to go through something like this. Not at like 4, obviously. But when he gets to 12 or 13, it's like, hey, You know, you can start to pick your bedtime now if you want to. I'm not going to hold you back from making the wrong or the correct choice. He will obviously had 13 years of me doing the same shit because I'm autistic as fuck, and so he will have a good understanding of what creates a good routine. But you've got the responsibility now. If you want to go and do dumb shit, you can go and do dumb shit. But I'm not going to bail you out. That's on your responsibility. I didn't really get that for a very long time. Like my dad was out of the picture when I was 13 at this current time of what we're talking about. And mum sure as fuck wasn't going to go, you have to be this type of person. It's your responsibility, blah, blah, blah. She was more excusing us of responsibilities because that's how she does things. And that led to very poor outcomes, mostly for my brother, because he was like kind of the middle child and nothing was ever really shouldered on him. It was either the eldest or the youngest got fucking slammed, and that was about it. He was kind of like Switzerland. And I think that was on purpose. He kind of just like sat in the middle and was like, yeah, sweet. As long as I can watch cartoons all day, I'm fine. But you got to have responsibility. It has to be the highest priority for men specifically. I mean, women have to be responsible for their actions. I'm not saying that, but I'm not a girl, obviously. Don't really have the authority to speak on their fundamental development through their teenage years. But for men, I cannot see how it's a bad idea whatsoever. I honestly can't. Obviously, it's going to get to a situation where they fuck up and they make a lot of mistakes, and you got to like guide with them and navigate with them. But it's more so a learning curve that they get to go through, and it's a self-actualization process to recognize, hey, the things I do in this world really matter, not just for me, but also for everybody around me. Like if I'm a slob, that reflects poorly on everyone around me. If I don't take care of my body, that reflects poorly on me and everyone around me. If I don't show up on time, that affects a lot of people. Like you think that you showing up to work late just affects you and you're all nervous because you don't want your boss to find out. But there's also like the flow on consequences of that now shit has to get delayed because you're the one that's not there. And you're an integral part of that team. And then that means the whole team gets dragged down as a result of that. And possibly even that behavior gets allowed. And then so other people start showing up a little bit later. And then work starts to slow down. Progress starts to slow down. And then everything starts to trickle down. So it is important if you really consider it. And I think having a high degree of responsibility in your life to think about second and third and fourth order consequences in these situations is a really fucking honorable thing to do. And it's a great way to live. And especially when you consider yourself operating underneath the golden rule of I would like to treat others the way that I would like to be treated because that's the right thing to do. There's a phenomenal thread an author mate of mine sent to me. And it was about Disney and the pussification of all of the stories that they've really just whittled away all of the genuine nature of like parables and the fact that a lot of them were like dark stories way back when, and that the Lord of the Rings author didn't leave any of the darkness out because it showed you the brutality of life and what it could be, and the fact that you need to stand up against atrocities. And he despised the Disney movies because they just didn't do that whatsoever. They made the seven dwarves all funny and jovial and everything. And he was like, it's just a fucking crying shame. I might read that one out eventually on a show. But he was kind of getting to the point of like, you know, you got to look at the darkness and you got to accept it that it exists, and how are you going to act as a result of that? You got to take responsibility for that sort of shit. You can't just ignore it because then it gets worse. And I think most people are just turning a blind eye towards this sort of shit. In today's day and age, they're rather like, oh, that's someone else's problem and whatever. But it isn't, because if you just continually push that can down the road, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And you're also not developing the critical skills to deal with those sorts of things. So as it gets worse, you get worse at dealing with it. And then it over bubbles to this massive thing. And then you get into a crisis, and then you fall down the line of going to men's retreats because you're in a shit spot. It happens. And I think the more that you can recognize that that's the path downward, I think the better you'll be. But I just don't see a reality where taking responsibility for the shit that you do is a bad thing ever, even in a radical sense. And going back to it's J.R. Tolkien, I'm pretty sure. His understanding of it, he goes, no, you need to look at it in the face and stare at it and recognize that it exists. And there's nothing you can do about it except change your response to it. You don't hide from it, you don't ignore it, but that you also do the right thing in the face of such atrocities. And the one other part of the thread was saying that you don't do the good for the outcome of doing the good action, because that also leads you to a very horrible place. You do the good because it's inherently good to do it. You treat others the way that you want to be treated, because not because you gain anything from it, but because it's the good thing to do. Hormozy talks about this a lot, and he says, you give to other people what you needed for you to succeed when it didn't exist for you, and you don't expect anything back. And if they want to pay you back in some way, then that's on them. Genuinely, it's not an expectation that you're doing something to gain something from it. And I talk about this rather infrequently because I don't think that I need the validation for it from other people to say, oh yeah, that's a really nice thing to do. But once a week, twice a week, every now and again, I will pick a table at the cafe that I like eating at, and I'll just pay for an old lady's lunch or a dinner, or not dinner. I'm very rarely there for dinner. Breakfast, or usually lunch. I'm there 2-3 days a week for lunch. And I don't do it so that they can praise me. I don't. I honestly don't. I do it because it's a cool thing to do. And selfishly, it makes me feel fucking good. Whether they try and like congratulate me, I always duck off before they can ever. I pick someone selectively that I think could use it, that is likely like on a pension or something like that, that, you know, they're in need, and that they're about halfway through, so that I go and fucking pay and just run off. Because I don't need the conversation afterwards, and I'm just doing it because it's a good thing to do. And to think that that could happen to somebody who's in desperate need of it, which has happened. I've been told stories after the fact, and that could change the way that they view the earth in a small way, that it's the right thing to do. Help someone out. Do it for nothing. Did a little Christmas run thing, which was really cool. Dropped off some supplies to some homeless people. I actually want to do that again this year. And a mate of mine, Rainey, said that he'd jump on board as well. He's got a massive furniture company for kids, and they've just gone into like dog beds and stuff like that. It's called Loungy. It's really cool. It's like these plush lounges that you can deconstruct, and you can turn them into forts, and then you put them back together, and it's got like, they're all boneless, so it's just the fluff stuff. And really cool idea. And he said he wants to get on board with it as well. And I think it's just a fucking great thing to do. Like, obviously you put so much effort into creating a really nice life for yourself, and it gets to a point where you're like, it's stupid selfish for me to sit here and just keep hoarding. Like, I don't really understand that principle whatsoever. I don't even understand, is like, material shit's cool, don't get me wrong. And I'm definitely not going to be one of those billionaire people that are like, oh, money doesn't make you happy. It fucking does. If you can spend it the right way, it fucking does. Like, don't let anybody propagandize you into believing that. But also gets to a certain point where you're like, well, I kind of just want to take my family out for dinner and have them not worry about what the order's going to be. That's about it. Like, I kind of want to go on holiday and just stay where I want to stay, instead of cross-referencing all the prices and whatever else. And I kind of just want to live the way that I want to live, without getting impeded on all the time. People fucking with me, telling me where I have to be and what I have to do and what I have to say and what I have to wear. That was my original selfish intention of starting a business where I could work online, is that I had this situation. I think I told this story before. I had this situation where I was at the gym and had someone complain about my rather colourful language. Probably said cunt really loud. It's funny. Deal with it. Cunt. And they didn't like it, and so they talked to the manager about it. The manager pulled me in for a meeting, and she was like, oh, we've had a complaint. And I'm like, oh, really? What about? And like, your language. And I was like, which word specifically? Like, we can't tell you. And I was like, oh, this is good. This is going to change my behavior. I don't know what I'm not allowed to say. So I may as well shut the fuck up and say nothing. And then she goes, yeah, it was an older member. And I said, well, let me know who they are so I can ring them and say, sorry for that. I'll promise not to do it again. What was the specific thing you didn't like me saying so I can put it on the naughty list? Or at least keep saying it, but have a look out for them when they are in the gym and then just quiet down a bit, you know? And they were like, no, we can't do that. I was like, why? They're like, oh, because it's an anonymous complaint. Well, unfortunately for this anonymous person, I'm not able to rectify the situation because I don't plan on changing very much. For somebody who was uncomfortable, that just could have said something in the moment, didn't. Maybe they didn't because I'm fucking freakishly large and I look like an ogre, possibly very terrifying to some old person. But if you would have walked up and said, hey, don't like appreciate you saying that while I'm here. Sure, no problem. Make a mental note, ask you for your name, apologize, and then go, sweet. Don't say the C word around them. No problem. But they didn't do that, and they handled it really poorly, and I kind of got the shits with that. Because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm expected to not say certain things around certain people, but you're not going to tell me who they are or what I said, so that I can't amend the behavior. So now I have to walk on eggshells in a place that I should feel comfortably in because I work here. And now I have no idea what to do, and I'm leaving. Bye. That was pretty much it. That was one of the first cracks of where I decided, like, fuck this, I need to get out of here. And then the second thing was, like, the scamdemic and all that shit happened. And then the last thing was kind of all my clients had left over a Christmas break period. And I was like, this is really shit. I spent 12 months building this business, and then 50% of it just deleted overnight. Because you send them text messages, you're like, oh yeah, can't wait to see you in the new year. And they go, yep, can't wait to see you in the new year. Then they have 2 weeks off and they feel fat and disgusting because they just obliterated themselves over Christmas, whether they got drunk or just ate too much pudding. And everybody does it. I ate a fuckload over Christmas. Great. Love it. Don't put too much weight on, but definitely enjoy myself. And they're not all that motivated to come and see you for the shaming process that they're doing to themselves because, your results aren't mine. I obviously care that you get the result, but if you just go and undo all the hard work we've been doing for 8 months, it's on you. I can't be with you 24/7. And then they're not very motivated to come back to the gym. So they tell you they're not coming back. And you're like, sweet, no problem. And I had that conversation 8 times in one day. That was fun. Personal training fucking sucks sometimes. Most of the time. Most of the time it sucked. It just wasn't for me. Well, it was for me. But it was only a stepping stone to get me into the right area of where I needed to be to realize that it wasn't for me so that I could go online and do that sort of thing and take it more seriously. And now I am where I am. So I'm very grateful for that fact. But anyway, wow, I've never seen that word. AGOGE. Agoge. We're going to have to look that up. I'm not satisfied with moving past that. AGOGE. Ancient Spartan education. Oh, it's the thing I was talking about before. Rigorous mandatory Spartan education and military training program for male youths starting at age 7 and lasting around age 30, focused on developing warriors and instilling Spartan values. Okay, the Agoge. I'm probably saying that fucked up. Actually, really funny story before I continue. Michael Zenga, BJJ Fanatics part owner, like co-owner, co-founder. Great guy. Came to Sydney, said he wanted to have dinner. And we were talking, had a lovely dinner, Italian. And then we went to go get ice cream. And he said, I'm going to get the Dolce. This is at Messina, by the way. And Messina's world famous ice cream, according to Zenga, because it's his favorite place. Whenever he comes to Sydney, he has to come here. And it is really good. It's like a gelato place, but they do crazy flavors. They're mad. Anyway, so I went there one time with full confidence, mind you. They don't really do much else. But anyway, I ordered what I'm told is Dolce de Leche. And I'm not Spanish, so I don't say it properly with the nice little lingo. I said, full confidence to the lady behind the counter, can I have 2 scoops of douche de luche? Not joking. She fucking cracked up laughing. I had no idea why. And she means you mean, and then pronounced it properly. And I told that to Zenga, and he fucking lost his mind. He thought that was the funniest thing. And now he sends me voice notes every 2 weeks going, douche de luche, douche de luche. And it's really funny. Anyway, the Agoge, hopefully I'm saying that right. Meaning educational upbringing was designed to help boys transition to manhood, teaching them to be quite resilient, even through adversity, and was quite literally life or death. To understand manners and etiquette, to better fit in with the community, to train for war if the tribe needed defending from the outside invaders. These boys were also taught to speak with purpose rather than spout off nonsense to fill the void of quiet moments, an art that has been lost in recent years by a society that only rewards the loudest and the most shocking. Isn't that fucking true? Like who are the like male leaders of today in terms of thought leading? It's a bunch of fucking pencil neck retards, and then it's also a bunch of loud dudes like Wes Watson who just screams on the internet and apparently now shows soft porn on Instagram. Don't go look it up. I don't follow him. I just follow this account that loves shitting on him. It's called Baller Busters. It's mad. Good account because it's holding these dorks accountable for like these fake men guru people. And all the guys get butthurt real bad and they block them and they just make endless videos about them. I recommend you go look at the page. It's quite funny. It's like that Andy Elliott guy that does the sales training and they scream at each other like, I'm a sales warrior. And it's just like, they just belittle each other and there's no like lesson about it. He makes people take their shirt off, and some people go through a transformation, and shaming as a practice is very powerful, but it's a bit over the top, a bit crazy. And I think it's only to fulfill the ego of the cult leader that exists, and it's a bit ridiculous. They go through other guys like Grant Cardone, who's a clear snake oil salesman and has actually fucked Gary Brecker's business quite badly. They were doing like 10 mil revenue a month, and they just wrote these extortionate contracts, and then they forced him to go to all these seminars that didn't do anything, and there were all these promises, and then they bought the company from them, and it was like this buyback thing, and Gary went back to him and said, look, well, either you buy us out our shares or we'll buy you out your shares. And in this equity deal, it was like, well, if you buy us out, the offer that you gave us is too low, but we also think your offer is too high if we buy you out, which doesn't make sense. It competes. So it's either it's too expensive or it's not. It's just a big thing. And they covered it really nicely. But it's a good way to understand these people that are just like loud and shocking. There's a lot of shock value to these sorts of things. And I know Andy Elliott wears disgustingly tight shorts on purpose just to get clicks on the internet, which is kind of stupid. You're just watering down your personal brand, and it just doesn't make sense because you only have a couple of things as a man. It's like your integrity. Like, do you follow up what you say? If you say something's going to happen, do you follow it up with it? And your word and your reputation, really. Now, don't try and fuck your reputation. It's fucked. It's a bad idea. You could spend 10 years building it and destroy it in 30 seconds. It's not worth it. But anyway, Spartan children learn the value of laconism. Another word I've never seen before. Let's look that one up. Isn't it fun? We're learning with Josh. A person's speech or style of writing. Okay, interesting. Laconism. I'll try and use it in a sentence this week. Or the act of speaking economically with precision. The term came from the region of Laconia, which was famous for its concise speaking. Wow, there you go. Your ego conveys confidence. Modern society wants you to be soft. Oh, this is a nice little segue from last week's episode. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Other channel. This one's on the new channel. And to quieten down your ego, the dark truth is that you should have an ego and you should believe in yourself, so long as you are competent enough to back it up. And unfortunately, the world has changed. I completely fucking agree with that sentiment because we did a whole episode on it last week. And I think a lot of people let it run away from them where they believe in themselves, they believe they're the shit, they work really hard to back it up, and then they start getting drunk with the idea of it. And they stop doing the things that got them to where they're at. And Conor McGregor's a fantastic example of this, by the way. You kind of don't know what to do with a situation like that because you've not been there. You're not worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're not like touted on every single place that you go. And it's difficult to say from somebody who is a armchair commentator who's never been in the arena to even have those things, that he is a worse man than you, because you don't know. It's just clear that his laconic, see, already using it in a sentence, his laconic style of speaking used to be just like magical and poetic. The way that he used to speak on the microphone, where it wasn't this grandiose showmanship style. It was, no, 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 like I've put in the work. I've seen the flaws of my opponent. And when they try and strike me, there will be nothing but thin air. I will create traps, I will create spaces, and I will not be there when he is there. Then I will place my shot. That's a man with conviction. That's a man who's doing the things that need to be done and backing up the shit that they say. Like, I'm going to knock this guy out in the first round. Then goes out and does it. Then gets on the microphone afterwards. He's like, the Mystic Mac is back. Fuck, I miss the old Conor McGregor. Wow. What a figure. What a figure. And you could just tell, intimately intertwined with purpose, passion, a love for what he was doing, a love for the craft. And then obviously you get to a stage where there's a lot more opportunities and there's a lot more things on the table, and you kind of now focus in other areas and you lose that luster for the game, and then you don't know where to put all that competitive, crazy energy that he has. It's definitely a battle. It's definitely a battle. And no one who's not in that position can say they would do otherwise, because you're not in that position. So shut up. I'm also intimately aware of the fact that a lot of people prey on downfalls of people like that because it makes them feel better. Because they're like, yeah, see what he did with all his achievements, and now he's a horrible person. And you're like, yeah, but you suck and you have no achievements. So what's the difference? Not a lot, to be fair. And just to say like, oh, well, I would be better if I was in that position. How do you know? You never will know, because you won't put in the work to get there. You won't put in the work to prove it to everybody else that you can do the things that you said you do, stick with it with conviction, and get to a phenomenal level of achievement. And I'm not saying you have to go and just model your entire life off McGregor just to prove a fucking point. But judgment is, and we all do it, don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying I don't judge people, of course I do. But judgment is a frivolous waste of energy. It's hard not to. Very difficult not to. And you kind of say, oh, well, if I was in that position. But you're not. So your judgment doesn't really mean a whole lot. And it's something I've worked on. I'm definitely not good at not doing it. It's a constant battle. It makes it more difficult in a social media environment where there's just so much shit going on all the time. I think back in the day when we were much simpler in our existence, when you were legitimately preoccupied by feeding the chickens, tending to the cows, and making sure the horses didn't run away. That these weren't really big issues. And obviously following on from the understanding that Dunbar's number is 150 people, and you can't really take on too much more than that. But then we are subjugated underneath a little nightmare rectangle here that blasts more than 150 people an hour into our face, basically. And it gets all very confusing and all very crazy. And I think intertwining that with the fact that there is this Peter Panism of boy men that don't take responsibility, don't go through a rite of passage, and don't have a laconic style of speaking and thinking. Because who are the thought leaders of today, really? Everybody touts Elon Musk as this super genius, but you listen to the guy speak and you... I don't know. I had a chat to my coach about this the other day, and I've watched some Elon videos about his not so genuine or authentic upbringing stories, rather secretive and mysterious. The fact that he didn't really invent or found PayPal, and he didn't really invent or found Tesla. Most people don't know that. But everybody heralds him as this super fucking genius. And I'm sure he's very intelligent, but I just don't buy it for the degree of which he is a super genius. I think he's very, very smart, but I think people blow smoke up his ass and think that he's much more intelligent than he is. And it's very easy to do so, because you're like, well, you know, who are you to say you haven't fucking shot rockets into the air? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. But I'm allowed to believe what I believe. You don't like it, don't fucking listen to me. It's pretty easy. But yeah, I think it's something to concern yourself with in terms of actionable things you could do about it. Just take unbelievable amounts of responsibility. Everything's your fault all the time. Get used to it. It's called being a man. Your life gets better when you think like that. I've done both. And this is the old Wolf of Wall Street saying. It's like, I've been a rich man, I've been a poor man. I choose rich every fucking time. Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? Goose. But I've been an irresponsible person, and I've been a responsible person, and I choose responsible every fucking time. And I'll never go back. I'll never go back to self-pity. Because I've spent the nights wakeless, or sleepless rather, woken up in my bed till 3 o'clock in the morning thinking, why me, why me? And that gets you fucking nowhere. Ever. What you need to do is take responsibility. Say, okay, it was all my fault. Let's just pretend. Let's just have a hypothetical thought experiment. It's all my fault. It's all your fault. Great. Next logical question. What am I going to do about it? I don't know what the answer is for you, but if it aligns with taking responsibility for your actions, good job. Pursue with forward action. Don't fucking give up in 2 weeks. Move forwards in a way that you find meaningful and impactful. It makes your life considerably better. And deal with it how you see fit. But as long as it's within the realm of shouldering the responsibility, I think you'll be in a much better place than you won't. Because every time I've decided to reject responsibility, my life gets worse. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. Thank you for listening if you've listened the entirety of the episode. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe because that's gay. If you liked it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. If you don't want to see more of me, don't fucking subscribe. Not a problem. I've had more than enough messages now for people that say, I really enjoy the show. And I say to them, thank you for enjoying the show. I really enjoyed doing it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. So here we are. New channel. Same old show, same old dribble. I work on being more laconic. I'm going to use that all the time now, making me sound smart. I often get told that anyway. People are like, you're no bullshit. You don't use a lot of fluff. Clearly, they don't listen to this show. Because if they did, they would be experiencing some fluff. Anyway, your time is your own. Enjoy yourself. See you in the next one.